Hello friends, welcome to Saptarishis Astrology. Today we are going to talk about, from a very senior astrologer, we are going to learn about medical astrology, a field which interests almost everyone. Everyone wants to understand how the stars and the planet influences the health of the native, what diseases can be predicted, and what can be the fatal periods by Dasha system and uh, by the Dasha and the transits. So the person who is going to talk to about this particular uh, subject is a very senior astrologer, somebody whose articles I've read like 10 years back, and I followed him for a long period of time. Uh, and he has a very deep interest into the classics, and he nowadays he does the professional readings also. Uh, but without much ado, let me introduce you to Jatinder ji. Jatinder ji, welcome to Saptarishis. Uh, Thank you so much for joining us and talking about taking this opportunity to talk about this subject. Uh, Sir, please introduce yourself to the audience because not many people who are associated with Saptarishis would know you. So, uh,
Yeah. Thank you, Vidhanji, and good morning to all the viewers. Specifically, as regards myself, I have been into astrology since around 16, 17 years. So I ventured into astrology specifically when I was I had suffered some losses and some. I was specifically not in a very good shape financially. I was looking for answers, so I went to a lot of astrologers. And the people would say, "Ki this is wrong. Do this remedy. Do this remedy. Do that." And then there was one fine gentleman. One day I got fed up and asked him, Ki, "Is there anything in the astrology, or is it just a hoax?" He said, "Now this fellow was a bit honest." He said, "See." Uh, there is nothing wrong in astrology, but we have failed. Exactly, if I would say, if you talk about me, then I have failed in astrology. Specifically, we not able to kind of guide you correctly. So then I started reading the books. I initially started with a bit of Lal Kitab, then to understand it, some books, and then something from net also, because actually I'm self-taught mostly, and during the course I met a few astrologers. There was this blind astrologer, uh, Pandit Hari Ram. He's currently in Norway, around 80, 85 years of age. He can recite Lagu Prashri and a bit of most of Brihit Prashar Hora Shastra by heart. Now, I learned a lot from him. And the thing was, he did not teach me anything, but I learned from him. Basically, I would go and sit with him. He would talk. He would talk to the clients. He would be doing something, uh, talking to somebody or talking to me, and then he would drop certain things like. Varshval, he would say Muntha this, Muntha that, Muntha how, what is the remedy for Muntha this, and then I would pick it up. Specifically, what he would talk, I would pick it up. Then I would study on it. It would take me a lot of time since basically it was not. I was like. There was nobody to guide me. So then I would be traveling daily to my place of work. So it was basically would be 2 hours journey one side. from my place where I stay. So I would keep on reflecting on charts. I would just, and then suddenly out of blue, say after 1 day, 2 days, sometimes 3 days or a week, it would suddenly strike. Yeah, specifically this could be the answer. This could be the answer, and then I would work on it. So that's how my journey started basically. And the medical astrology, the medical part of it, because and I ironically I pick up the normally I pick up the most difficult part when I was in 10th, and there was this sums on dividends and all. Who none of my classmates could understand it in first go, but I was the only one who could do it. And but uh, as regards geometry and other simple mathematics, I was not good. But in that particular part, I was very good. So specifically here also in medical astrology, since it is when you're talking upfront to somebody and you're saying, sir, your particular part is susceptible, you are susceptible to such and such disease, or is there a problem in this particular area, specifically say, for example, somebody who's susceptible to heart disease may have a acid reflux, may have a high blood pressure, and the cholesterol thing and everything. So if now the person can at the very beginning upfront, he can specifically deny the thing, or he can accept it. It's not the key. He will see your time is coming, specifically that a good time is coming, and it is 6 months away or something. That cannot be confirmed or something. It is something that already exists in the chart. The susceptibility is there. This is if whether the person is susceptible to that particular kind of a disease, or there is some part affected, or is already into the process. So this kind of interested me, and I started. Then, like I said, I worked a lot on astro data bank charts, because that's the only source, authentic source available, where you can get the birth data, and you can work on various principles, whatever has been given in the classics, and you can develop your own in certain areas. Specifically, the hints have been given in the classics, but then it's as per the interpretation of authors.
Correct.
How the author's interpretation, because we are not good in Sanskrit, and we can't kind of interpret the original shlok as written in the book. So whatever the author who has written that particular volume, it is as per his interpretation, and then we go by it.
Correct. Sir, have you ever used the Saptarishis research software?
So yeah.
Okay. Because this software has all the
I downloaded it quite a way back when it was launched. Specifically, I think it was Rocky, Rocky did it or something, and
Hasan Karzani, if I'm not mistaken.
Azan and Rocky, most probably, and the both of them worked on it. So actually I've been on Facebook since quite a long time. So I know by the God's grace, a lot of people are connected. So I do get the regular inputs from what is happening, how people are doing it on the.
Very nice, sir. So shall we get into the subject?
Yeah. So, Vidhanji, in medical astrology, specifically, the key or the clue is hidden somewhat in where the disease manifests, or where the disease starts from, or what. For example, for a heart disease, it said that the cholesterol is the cause, the blockage by the cholesterol. If somebody has a high cholesterol, then it is the reason. It is a partly a reason. It's partly a reason specifically, until and unless there is an inflammation or inflammation. When the inflammation occurs, then the artery that tries to repair itself, and the blood clot is formed, and specifically uh, this results in a heart disease, heart attack, or if it travels to the brain, then it is a brain stroke specifically. So first, the first step I would in the medical astrology is to see where the particular part is located. So lot of books are there, and lot of tables have been given. So as per the Kal Purush, we start with the first house, the first house of the Kal Purush. With the first house, it is like from starting from the head itself. Head, brain, hair appearance, and that is specifically the first house. Then moving on to second, it is face, eye, right. Basically, it is right eye, because it's the visible part. The visible part is where the right side of the body is. The invisible part is where the left side of the body is. So in case of a female, it would go vice versa. Basically, it would be the left, and the other would be the right. So right eye, neck, throat, because it's first is the head itself. The second is till the neck, and specifically the parts related to the face. And specifically here also the speech, because we specifically the second is about speech, and it is also about the food intake, what we take from take whatever food we intake, basically, for into the system, our body or something. And then here the nails also a part of it, the second house. Now, third would be from neck onwards, from neck to shoulders, specifically, and that's the broad area, and that would be. So it would be because third is associated with the hearing normally. So ears are part of it, right ear. Then lungs, because and this is up till the chest area specifically, because Gemini is air sign specifically. It is an air sign, and Gemini is related to lungs. And then we have shoulders, arms, hands, and upper part of esophagus, mobility. This is where the third is. Then where the third ends, then it's the fourth. Specifically, you would say the chest area, the breast area, specifically. Some people, now there is a bit of confusion here. Some people associate fourth house with the heart, because they say where the chest is, or where the breast is, it is where the heart is to be specifically. Now, some people, there is a bit of disagreement between the two groups. The other says the heart has to be seen from the fifth house. So specifically, it's like fourth and fifth both, because the fifth is like fourth is where it is placed, and fifth is the fifth sign. Fifth is the sign where it is associated with. So you see, first it is houses, then it is the signs. So then fifth is upper abdomen, stomach, liver, then liver, gallbladder. It's not exactly gallbladder. Gallbladder is also somewhat debatable. It's to be seen from fifth or sixth. Specifically, gallbladder, as I found, it is to be seen from the sixth house. Then pancreas, duodenum, also from the sixth house, because sixth house becomes that important with the assimilation. It's the part where the food we have taken is and it is digested, assimilated, and then transferred to various parts of the body. Um, so sixth becomes quite important. And in Ayurveda, they say ki if your digestion is not right, then specifically there is a problem with your body. Everything they say ki most of the diseases. I'm not what you call a practitioner of Ayurveda or something, but I do some extensive readings, and whatever little I know, it is like ki most of the diseases start from uh, the assimilation. The food we have taken is not assimilated in a right way, or the food is not taken in proper proportions, or the food is not right as per the body requirements as such. So there is a bit of disturbances in the elements. So the next slide, please. Now the seventh house is about it is a bit of reproductive the reproductive parts, and it's a bit of excretory parts also, because here specifically here after the assimilation specifically when the assimilated food is circulated to various parts, then the filtration process goes on. Specific, you get certain things. Say a part of it is a blood is formed and everything, and then there are waste products also, like urine and all that body has to expel. So this is where a bit of an excretory functioning of the body starts. So it is about expelling something. Here also, even if we talk about the semen also, so semen specifically is not a waste product, but basically it is related to reproduction and all. So here a bit of it's a combination of both. It acts as the reproduction house, and it is also a house where the body waste are to be expelled. Then the eighth house is about external genital organs, specifically the organs that are visible to us, and specific from where we expel the the waste of the body is then comes the hip area, basically thighs and hips, from the ninth house, and the 10th is knees, joints and legs. 11th is left ear, basically once again the two wherever the two parts are there, like two eyes and ears, and the left part of the horoscope, the left things are assigned to the other houses, because third is about right ear and 11th is about the left ear, calves, ankles, lower legs. And this house is very important also. See, and as regards the circulation is concerned, the circulation, this house is very, because the circulation from heart and from the legs thereafter to the it is like the totally circulating system in the body, the blood circulation or something. So 11th is very important here. We will find out later when we go into the cardiac part of it, the heart attack, how the heart attack happens on. And in the 12th, they are the feet and the left eye, specifically. Now 12th is also associated with the incapacitation of any kind. And it's say incapacitation. If we are resting, we are sleeping, we are incapacitated for a certain period of our time. Then in hospital, we are incapacitated. The incapacitation occurs because this fifth house takes something out of whatever there is. That's why it's called house of loss. Specifically, see, when a person is sick, a part of his health has been taken away. If the person is mentally unstable, a part of his brain, or maybe depends on the intensity of the disease, how affected the person is. Say a part, or more than half part, or specifically the person can be insane. Basically, the mind is not working, so it has been taken away. That capacity has been taken away. So that is why I call it a house of incapacitation. And in case of a bondage also, it is because in case of jail, bondage, or something, it's your freedom that has been taken away. So specifically, the 12th is about something that has been taken away. So next slide, please. Now, as per the science, uh, for the science, it is very because I've taken internal structural and elemental science, constitutional science here specifically. This is because once the house is what the house is uh, like a building. House is a building. Sign, the signs wherein, when we put the signs there in the house, it is an address. It gives you the address. And when we put planets there, then specifically is what first it is the house, then it is the address, and the third is the occupancy, or specifically when the person starts to live there. It may be rented or it may be self-owned. Specifically when the things are completed. So similarly in medical astrology, first we have to identify from the house, then we have to see the sign, the sign, where what the sign is, then what kind of planets are there, and what how in what elements, how they will behave basically. So Aries specifically is a fiery sign, so it is associated with head and face, like the first house. So because since we are talking about the natural zodiac or the Kalposh Kundli, so it is like the first is about head. So similarly, we take Aries as the natural sign. So head and face, Aries is about head and face, and then internal rulership. Basically, the internal part is the brain. Basically, the head becomes important because the brain is there. Then the structural part, or the structural rulership, is the cranium and the facial structure. The structural part is where, like the internal skeleton, basically the skeleton system, with the bones or something. What is it's associated it? It's a fire sign. Head, face, heart, thighs, because it becomes like it is a part of a triangle, that is 159, specifically the fire signs, all the fire signs, and it is a part of it. So further on, then constitutional sign is the cardinal: head, kidney, stomach, and skin. Why? Because why kidney is being associated here? That can be the questions in the view. See, there is sympathy and antipathy in the science. The sympathy and antipathy, or the axis, we will talk about that later in detail. And where, see, Aries, when we talk about Aries, the sign opposite is Libra. The sign opposite is Libra. So Libra is, as we see, Libra, the seventh house. It is about kidney. It is about a part of a stomach. It is about excretory system. It is about the reproduction, and therefore, and because now it's associated with, because it's owned by the Venus, so it relates about a bit about skin also. It's the physical beauty basically, and it's a bit about skin also. Though skin, the two significators of skin are Mercury and Saturn specifically. So then coming to Taurus, Taurus is Earth sign, and external rulership is neck and throat. Then internal is the system inside the organs inside the neck, that is gullet, larynx, and cerebellum. Bones of the neck is the structural rulership. Then here also element signs: throat, bowels, kidney, knees, and the skin. Then it is the part of triology 2, 6, and 10. That is the earth signs, and it is a fixed sign. Basically, throat, heart, excretory system. Now, excretory system, once again, why the excretory system? That we have explained. So here the sign would be because it's this Taurus, and the other sign would be the Scorpio. So exactly that is the way it is to be seen, because when the two signs or the two axes are correlated, so the disease can be either of the two. Specifically, it can be from the Taurus, and it can be from the Scorpio. So basically, the a part of it, because it forms an axis, so a part of it is also to be associated. So Germany, we have shoulder and hands, lungs, breath. Now blood is it's said ki normally the heart is the pump of the system, but see, lungs do perform a function. Lungs do perform a function here. So in the supply of blood, or in kind of filtering it, providing the oxygen and everything to it. Now coming to the structural rulership is shoulder, collarbones, bones of the hands and shoulders, because it's all about shoulders, bones of the hands, shoulders. Then air, lung, then elemental sign is, because it's the air sign, lungs, breath. Now kidney, it's talking kidney, blood, 3, 7, 11. These are the air signs specifically. The trilogy is 3, 7, 11. That is Gemini, Leo, and Aquarius. Now, why the blood here? See, we talked about Gemini being associated with breath and blood. Now, breath, we find it okay because it's an air sign, and it's the first air sign. It's what we breathe in specifically, and nose would be a part of it or something. So, see, the blood is here because of the signs. We have Gemini. Gemini is about air, what we breathe in, and kidney would be associated from the 7th sign, and the circulation. Since we talked about the circulation, why it is important, it will become important here also when we talk about the heart attacks. The 11th is a part of a circulation, that is the 5-11 axis. 5 is the what you call heart, and 11 is a part wherein it kind of helps in the circulatory system. So that is why the blood here is associated, air, lungs, breath, kidney, and blood. So basically the thing is to understand why. See, the table is given. The table may be available in plenty of books, it may be available in plenty of sites, but you just following the table and then seeing blood is to be seen from the, you need to understand why, because if you if you understand it, why it is there specifically, you would be able to pinpoint a particular disease. You will be able to, then it will becomes quite easy to see what part of the body is affected also. So then constitutional signs, it is common: lungs, bowels, nervous system, digestions. It is since lungs, now here nervous system. Because Mercury, the rulership of Gemini is a Mercury. Uh, it's associated with the nerves, or it takes on the main part of the kind of the thing assigned to Mercury is to uh, take the signals from the brain and kind of distribute to the whole of the body. That is why it is related to nerves and nervous system. And what about now? Here it is bowels and digestion. Now, digestion is completed in basically the sixth house. The sixth house we already talked about it, and it is kind of because here it is after the digestion, because we're talking about the seventh sign here. It is when the digestion has been completed and it is brought into the system. So here that's why it's associated here. Now coming to the fourth sign, that is Cancer. We have the area associated as breast, chest. Uh, that's the region specifically that's associated with it. Now, fourth is associated with a part of stomach also. They say stomach and digestive organs. Digestion is seen from the moon. Why? Because see, the water part or the fluids. Uh, uh, there are types of bodily fluids in the system. One are governed by moon, specific. The other are reproductory in kind. They are governed by the Venus. The two kinds of fluids are in the body. So some fluids are required in digestion. See, and the water element is required a bit in the bowels and all this area. So it is here that digestion occurs. So that is why it is associated. The Cancer sign is associated with digestive organs also, and basic stomach and digestive organs. And internal rulership. See the internal rulership, they say. So
This is
when we
very
see the
different points that you have brought out. Cancer sign for digestion. I don't think many books have talked about this thing. I don't think many people have talked about this thing. But yeah, I
we
think very
when
interesting point.
Vilhanji, when we go to basically we proceed further, when we'll be taking on digestion as such, as per Ayurveda, how it happens, and as per the four humors in Western astrology. They say the first happens in the liver, and that thereafter the second, third, and all. We will take it when we come to that. So now the elemental sign. They also give you what you call a hint here. Structural rulership as breastbones and the ribs, and as regards the elemental signs, water is the sense here. 4, 8, and 12. Stomach, excretory system. So that is how it becomes. It plays its part in the digestion system also. So that's why it is associated with digestion also. Now, Leo is spine and back. Spine, back. Internal rulership is heart. Here it is the heart. Now, the fourth is, we talked about the fourth house. In the fourth house, we associated it with the heart. Now, the sign is Leo. So that is why the two needs to be checked, the fourth house as well as the fifth house, for any kind of a heart disease or any kind of now the structural rulership is the structure or the bones or the skeleton. Here it would be the spine, and as regards Virgo, it is abdominal umbilical region. It's quite clear. Bowels and intestine as the internal rulerships and parts of the spine. The lower part of it, some parts of it are associated with the planet Virgo, no, the sign Virgo. The next slide, please. Now, seventh is lumbar region, skin, that is the external rulership, and the internal is kidneys. Since Venus is associated with the beauty or the part of it, that's why the skin is given quite exposure here in Libra. Uh, then rulership, internal rulership is kidneys, and the bones of lumbar region basically are the structural rulerships. Scorpio, urinary and sexual organs, generative organs and blood. Now, why generative? When we generative organs for male and female, they have to be seen from different houses. Seventh for male and eighth for female. So that is why generative organs and bladder, because it's a part of system of expelling the bladder, and now pelvic bone is the area, structural rulership. Sagittarius, hips and thighs, and the arterial system. Now there is this parts. See, when we talked about the sign Aries, we talked about 159, the elemental signs. The elemental signs, and we talked about the blood or something related to this. So here also Sagittarius, arterial system and nerves. Now this arterial system, what it is? Jupiter is responsible for the cholesterol. The cholesterol is needed for the smooth functioning of the heart and the system related. Cholesterol is not the culprit. Culprit is the inflammation. When the inflammation occurs, then obviously the arteries try to repair itself and the clot is formed, and there is a blockage over there. And due to that blockage, a clot may be formed, or there can be kind of a damage to the arteries, or there can be a stop in the flow of blood. There can be a little because then the plaque here, it's not, they used WebMD also uses the word plaque. It does not use cholesterol for the blockage. So it also uses the plaque. So basically it's like in all professions, like in astrology, in medical also, people tend to get basically misguided by the practitioners concerned, the doctors or the astrologers or some, because the fear factor, without the fear factor you cannot until and unless you develop you put in a slight fear in the people or the native who's come in, so he's not going to shell out money for you. Okay. So Aquarius here also, see here legs and ankles, and once again you see circulation here. See, where in the ninth we have arterial system, arterial, and in the 10th, in the 11th we have the blood and circulation. So the blood and circulation, it is a very important part of the, because from head to even if you see the diagram or the anatomy of the heart, that like we have put in further in the slides and all. So there are various inlets and outlets. One from the feet to it, then it from the head to it, or from it to head. So specifically here also it is blood and circulation. Shin bones and ankles is the structural rulership. Now Pisces is about feet and toes. Then here it's lymphatic system. Now lymph system is say there is a bit of question mark here also in the lymph system. Some people associate the lymph to with the moon, the lymph system, lymphatic system. But you can take the both until some agreement, some mutual understanding is kind of derived at. It can be taken as both to check. Then bones and feet are the bone, feet, and toes are the structural rulerships here. Then we move on to the planets, I think. Now, it is the systems now. The skeletal system, it is ruled by the bones, ruled by the sun, and it is bones, cartilage, joints, ligaments, and that hold together. So sun is kind of associated with the bones mostly. In a broader term, I would say it is sun and the sun and the Saturn. Saturn is about the entire skeletal system, and sun is about bones and the cartilage and ligaments, like we said. Uh, but this is the view as per the Indian texts and the Indian classics we have, whatever it is. So, because they say I have not done much alterations here or put in my entire views here. Um, because it kind of explains it in this way better. It's not we can uh, bring in our touch, or we can bring in the Western view also next time, as if the time is with us, and if by God's grace we do it again. So then muscular region, muscular is about Saturn. They say skeletal or voluntary. Here also they also talk, because this is to be understood. See, when we talk, they talk about the main major organ here. They talk about muscles, but they skeletal or voluntary with the bones and tendons. One is the bones is responsible for all form of conscious movements. Then smooth muscles responsible for involuntary movement of organs, cardiac muscles, the bulk of all. Now Saturn is a major player in heart attacks. See, the cardiac muscles are there, and moreover, it is a planet of degeneration. It is planet of blockage. What it is in medical astrology, it is associated with more blockages, degenerations, or the wasting away of an organ. So nervous is Mars. Uh, Brain, because the first house, it is Aries, it is associated with the brain, sense organs, eyes, ears, taste buds, smell and touch receptors, nerve, and spinal cord. Once again, I have not tried to change it. Basically, when we talked about Gemini or Mercury, we talked about the that Mercury is responsible for the nerve signals to be carried forth to the entire body from the brain. Uh, that is also a part of. It is exactly a part of the nerves, and everything is a part of. More so of domain of Mercury rather than Mars, but Mars becomes important here because of the rulership of the first house. That is where the brain is. So it's not if it has been put in this way, so it is not without any reason. It's also, so what can be done is, they can be seen simultaneously. They can both of them, the Mars and Mercury, should be seen for the nerves and the problems related to nerves. Now, and endocrine is related with Venus, the system endocrine. See, I told you we were talking about the two kinds of fluids that the body generate. One is the fluids generated by the moon, and other are by the Venus. So it kind of corroborates to that system here. Control and influence of body chemistry, metabolic process, hormone, because obviously hormones, most of the hormones, specifically the hormones related to your hormones related to your reproduction and everything. They are domain of Venus only. Then pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid. Thyroid is in the area of neck, and neck is uh, uh, it is here somewhere where neck and shoulder part and starts specifically. So the second and third, it is here somewhere.
Mhm.
So that is why it is associated. Then thyroid, parathyroid, adrenals. Adrenals basically Western astrology associates it with the Mars. So pancreas, thymus, testes, ovaries, and that is self-explainable. It does not require anything to be said about it. Then respiratory, it is mercury, lungs, bronchi, tubes, lungs, trachea, windpipe, mouth, larynx, nose, diaphragm. Then cardiovascular, it is once again self-explanatory: heart, arteries, veins, capillaries, blood. Uh, Lymph vascular, that is now lymph system was it is associated because lymph nodes and everything. It is mercury. We way back when we were doing the science, there was a bit of confusion here regarding this. So lymph structure involving circulation of lymph and the body's defense against disease, including lymph nodes, lymph vessels, spleen, tonsils, adenoids, thymus. Why? Why is it related with immunity? Why mercury? Why? Because they are talking about defense system. And what is the body's defense system? It is the immunity. We talk about immunity here. Now, immunity. Why? Because it represents the three doshas.
Yes.
It represents the three dosha. It is the only planet that represents the three dosha, the Vat, Pitta, and Kapha. And most because it represents the three dosha, and the other sign of it also, and the earth sign Virgo.
Correct.
Uh, it is also associated in uh, in the normal three elements or the three humors as per Ayurveda. The earth sign is distributed. The earth signs are distributed on Vat, Pitta, and Kapha as such. So that's how it is explained here, because uh, the defense system, immunity is to be seen from Mercury. Now the digestive is Jupiter. It is self-explanatory. Liver, pancreas, and everything. Most of the stomach area is under the domain of Jupiter. Uh, so reproductive, it is like I said, male testes, penis, prostate gland, seminal vessels, urethra, female ovaries, and everything. It is associated with Venus. Excretory, now Saturn. Excretory is that is the organs removal of waste and sweat glands, large intestine, urinary system, kidneys, urethra, bladder. The kidneys are associated with the Venus normally, but because here the natural rulership of the eighth sign, the eighth sign rulership, or the karka, because Saturn is the karka of the eighth house. Here it's taken in that context. Saturn is taken in that concept because it's the rulership of the eighth house, the karka of being in the eighth house. So Saturn is associated here. Otherwise, this the eighth sign belongs to Mars, but Mars has some other functions. So the excretory systems are based on the karak, the natural karak, yeah, the significator of the eighth house. So that's why the Saturn is associated here. Next slide, please. Now, see, now we come to the planets. First, it was the house, then it was the signs, then the systems, the body systems. We try to kind of study the body systems as well. Now, it is the planets and what diseases they indicate in the horoscope. Now, sun is a stomach. Um, Obviously, and when we were studying a part of it, the fourth house to fifth house, because sun is the natural uh, 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 Leo sign belongs to the sun, and it is the fifth sign of the natural zodiac. So sun, that particular thing. So it becomes easy when, because first it was the house, the building, then it was the address, and third it was the occupant or the person staying in it. So here the building was the fifth house, and the fifth house, and if the sign is Leo and heart and sun is there specifically, so it completes the picture here. Stomach, bone, right eye, because sun is associated with the right eye. The two eyes of the system, the human system. Right eye is sun and the left eye is moon. And for the females, it is exactly the opposite. So trouble in right eye, high fever, disease of heart, stomach, skin, bone, fracture, leprosy, internal fever, brain trouble, diseases in head, and all past diseases. Now, fifth is what? Fifth is a Purav Punya house also. Why is talking about the past diseases? Something that has been brought about. So further on, the moon, when we talk about moon, it is here also heart, lungs, because once again the rulership is the breast area, and breast, you find the heart where the breast is. So heart, lungs, mind, blood, because as we talk, there are two types of body fluids. One is associated with moon, the other is associated with the Venus. So here blood or the supply blood is carried forward by the moon. So blood, left eye, breast, elementary canal, water in the body, intestines, lymph. All lymph is associated with quite a lot of planets. Mercury we studied when we was this as a system. It was with Mercury. Uh, so so it is you need to. It's not because medical astrology is not black and white. You need to kind of see the first of all, you understand how the disease is triggered, how from which part it is triggered, and then associate that part specifically for the medical astrology thing to be seen from the horoscope and all. That is how, because it may sound confusing to a lot of people. Say, uh, how come it's so? So intestine, lymph, kidneys not as whole, but kidneys do also carry water, or the water to be expelled out, or the waste with the body, urea and everything, when the digestion and assimilation has gone through. So why moon is like we explained, why moon is associated with digestion, because it's water, and it helps in the digestion.
Yes.
It's the fluids, it carries the fluids also. So diseases are diseases of heart, left eye, uterus, dizziness, um, inertia, asthma, diarrhea, anemia, poisoning of blood, diseases from water, vomiting, kidney trouble, diabetes, menstrual disorders. Now, menstrual disorders is partly, see, it it is a part of that thing. If Now, the menstruation happens when Moon and Mars they combine together. They get associated in a horoscope, in a transit. Basically, that's how the lunar circle, as per the lunar circle, the 14-day thing. So that's why it is the periodology or the it's taken as 28 days, and normally it is 28 days only. The normal, if the normal periods are to be considered, it is for the 28 days. So the both phases of moon specifically. And whenever Mars in transit, Moon and Mars, they associate with themselves, they get associated. So that's when it triggers the menstruation. So here that's why it's mentioned here also. Menstrual disorders. Now this order because it relates to menstruation, so it is also related to disorders also. And disorders would happen when there is a blockage in it, and it would happen because Saturn would be a part of it. Whenever Saturn would be a part of it, it would happen. So dropsy, appendicitis, diseases of breast, mammary glands, cough and cold. Now Mars is about blood, again, blood marrow, energy, neck, veins, genitals, red matter in the blood, rectum, veins, female organs, and vitality. It's about the movement because it's about action. The Mars is the planet about action, and everything related to the action. And more so since it is the ruler of Agni, specifically, it is about vitality also. It is the body's ability to fight back. So diseases of head, poisoning, cuts, wounds, sore eye, leprosy, itches, blood pressure, and all. Dysentery, rectal diseases, chicken pox, mumps, fistula, hernia, they are all associated with Mars. Mercury, it is chest. Chest, why chest? Because lungs is a part of it. Nerves, skin, navel, nose, spinal, gallbladder, veins, lungs, tongue, arm, mouth, hair. Now, when I was talking about houses, I was talking about the sixth house uh, as the main significator for the gallbladder disease or the gallbladder stones or something related to gallbladder. So it becomes quite clear here because Mercury is the significator. Now, the third house is about the breathing. The third sign is about breathing and everything, and sixth is about your the sixth sign, Virgo. It is about all the internal stomach is, and where because it's this gallbladder is attached to a duodenum. Somewhere near liver, it's attached to duodenum, and that's why here gallbladder figures under Mercury. Now, diseases of chest, nerves, chicken pox, epilepsy, navel, nose, bladder, poisonous diseases, bone fracture, typhoid, madness, and all, cholera, skin. Now, here it is skin. Now, we were talking about Venus as significator of skin because Venus is a significator of skin, but it is related to beauty. The actual significators are Mercury and Saturn. Now, Jupiter is about thighs, fats, brain, lungs, liver, kidney, ear, memory, tongue, spleen, diseases of liver, kidneys, lungs and ears, diabetes, lack of memory, and so on. Venus is face because that's the the significator, the second house of the natural zodiac belongs to Venus. Face, eyesight, genital organs, kidneys, semen. Kidneys is the other sign, that is Libra, semen, urine, and so on. Diseases of the face, eye, venereal diseases, fading away, bodily luster, something. Then the STDs, goiter, gout, anemia, urethral diseases, hernia, general debility is associated with the Venus. They say if there is a benefic aspect of Jupiter, the person tends to get better because it's considered a benefic. And as per the Western astrology or the astrology that was practiced at William Lilly's times, it was like if there is, they would draw a Prussian chart or something, the horary chart basically, and if Venus was kind of aspecting the significator of disease or the disease where the house where disease occurred. So it was said that the person would get better. So as related to Saturn, its legs, joint bones, limbs, teeth, skin, hair, knees and spleen, weakness, stomach, pain, damage, loss of limbs, bone fracture, disease of bones, teeth, skin, legs, rheumatic pains, blindness, ugly hair, mental worries, wounds, muscle pains, paralysis, hysteria, deafness, tumors, baldness. Uh, all wasting diseases are the domain of Saturn. Now Rahu has is about feet, breathing, neck, lung problems. Now see, it is as per the association here. Rahu has been considered with the. Normally they say all diseases that can't be diagnosed are associated to Rahu, or some long-standing diseases they can be. Well, see, Rahu, if you even if you talk about Rahu's signs as such, Gemini or Taurus, whatever they are, but then they give some problems related to that area also. That is lung problems, diseases of feet, ulcers, boils, leprosy, difficulty in breathing, enlargement of spleen, cataract. Why cataract? Cataract happens when the fluids in the eyes, it kind of gets the eyes get dry, and then because of the dryness in the eyes and the association of Venus is very important in the eyes here as regards sun and moon also. So that is the reason. Now spleen, cataract, hydrocole, varicose veins, hiccups, stammering, poisoning, because Rahu is associated with the poison also. All virus diseases related to virus, Rahu can be a culprit, because Rahu is something that is unorthodox. Rahu is not what your regular orthodox planet, your regular planet. See, in case of IVF or something, when the embryo is injected, now that's an unorthodox thing. That is unorthodox thing. That is why Rahu comes to play, because it's not the regular scheme of the things. The embryo has been fertilized outside and then it would be placed inside. So that domain would come. That is out of ordinary. That is not something that is not very natural, is what Rahu is. Mm-hmm. So Ketu is belly, feet, because let's say Kujavrat Ketu. So lungs problem, fever, stomach pain, body pains, diseases of unknown causes, intestine worms. Now Ketu is associated with the worms, or Kirmi. And they say Kirmi in Sanskrit. Now Kirmi is what, specifically if Ketu is in the 8th house, the person can be susceptible to the worms in the anal area. The person can be susceptible to the reason because it's associated. It's Kirmi. It's associated with Kirmi. So normally the worms that happen in to children, and it is quite common to women also, because their external body organs are quite they're placed within a small setup, bodily setup. So it can spread to the other part also. So defect in speech, air, brain diseases, phobias. So it is all the Ketu's domain. Now,